feet of the pyramid. So thank you so much for that contribution. I would like to move on from that particular question and then quickly ask, right now, the argument on the street, everywhere, on everybody's lips is, when will it be safe to reopen school? Is it safe and good, okay now to open the schools? So I would like to ask Dr. Rotimi Fasimoye, if it is yes, what are the measures that needs to be put in place? If it is no, what are your reasons for no, for saying no? So I would like to hear from you, Dr. Rotimi.
Thank you once again. So the short answer is we are not ready yet to open up. That's just the short answer without mincing word. Now, can we still, the question should be, can we still continue educating our students while not in school? Maybe yes. But the fact that, see, a lot of things, the news I get online and everywhere about what is going on in Nigeria regarding COVID-19 is not encouraging at all. And these are the ones that we are seeing. There are a lot of deaths based on COVID-19 that we are not reporting at the moment, but people refuse to see it as that. So imagine allowing those students to go back and feel like nothing is happening. We are just going to start seeing people dying. And like Melinda Gates rightly said some times ago, if this thing continues to fester, you might start seeing people laying dead on the street. I know people don't believe that COVID-19 is real, even up to now. That's the feeling I get from the street. But the truth is, we cannot wish away the truth. It is real. Now, for me, I wouldn't want to dwell too much on the tertiary part of our education system, because I'm always the type that believe in the bottom to the top to solve issues. And the first thing I would like us to start thinking of, how can we ensure that these younger generations, the primary school students, the secondary school students, how are they going to continue to be educated while still at home? What can we do to make sure that they don't lose interest in education? Because at the stand, we don't actually know when this is going to end. So how can we ensure that they are still participating educationally? And I will try to talk about 2 or 3 points that I believe we could do, and at least to make sure this thing goes forward. And the most important part is for us to have a very good internet or IT services, which we don't have. And I will leave that to maybe Dr. Gideon to talk about that, on how to solve that issue. But moving forward, the first thing we should try to do is to incentivize education at home. And what do I mean by incentivizing? While I was little, growing up in Ondo State, there used to be some programs on TV and even on radio whereby the educators, maybe mathematics or English or something like that, that people try to key into and just to learn after school. Now, people don't get too excited about these things because it is not incentivized. But imagine you trying to bring something up whereby people can do some things and get something in return. This can make students to start thinking, oh, maybe we can try to key into this thing. And I know what people will say. People will say that, oh, most of us, we don't want to key into it. But the truth is this: there are some that wants to learn. Let us focus on those that want to learn and not try to desensitize them. Those that don't want to learn, we can leave them, but at least let's focus on those that want to learn. So the first thing is try to incentivize all these programs, let people start key into it, and let them start getting something a bit. It might not be too much, but something little. And another thing I want us to talk about is radio program that we can reach into rural areas. We should start thinking about this. Not all those rural areas have IT facilities. Not all of them have phones. But I can assure you, as someone that has lived in the north before and some rural areas down south, virtually every household has a radio. So we can start penetrating a little bit through that means as well, to start bringing something, maybe mathematics or English, just something to keep them involved in education. And the last thing I think we should do is, if at all we are going to try to bring things into open, or maybe we want to open schools, then we should start thinking about starting what I call shift schooling. So a shift schooling is such a way because we know that most of these schools are already overpopulated and overcrowded. So what I want us to start doing is let's try to see, okay, how can we make sure that people will come in the morning and some will come in the afternoon and some will come in the evening. This particular type of schooling is already a little bit prevalent in the north. I can say that because while I was serving in the north, I have some teachers that do go in the morning to go and teach some set of students and go in the evening to teach some set of students. We can bring this into our being and try to partition those students. If you have to come, if a class is having 60 students, let's divide them into 3. 20 will come in the morning, and whatever we could teach them, the most important part of the education, mathematics, English, and a little bit of science for those that want it. Let's teach them within those time frame and allow the other ones to come in. I think I would like to stop at that point.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rotimi, for that contribution. Your suggestions are beautiful, and I think they look at especially the issue of the radio. It has the potential of reaching the underserved communities, especially in the rural areas. And given the fact that internet penetration is not 100% across the nation, especially in the local areas. So, and then the next question that people usually, people usually raise is the issue of accessibility, affordability, and the infrastructure itself. And then we also know that internet too is not something that is it can be better. I wouldn't say we don't have it, we have it, but it can be better here as well. And then on the issue of a shift schooling that you talked about, it's a wonderful idea, but I'm just the only question that somebody will ask is how will the teachers cope if I have to teach in the morning, in the afternoon, or at night? Would they have to recruit another teacher? What will happen? So all of these are questions that I think we need to ask ourselves when we because on this platform, I know people are listening to us. Whatever solution we are giving to them, at Fat Corner, they must be able to see it as something that is not just it is practical. You can practice it. It can be deployed. So that is that about that. Moving on, I would like to, I don't know, Mr. I keep saying Mr. Dr. I wouldn't know whether you would like to corroborate whether Nigerian schools, especially the secondary schools, the primary schools, are we ready for reopening? Are we ready for reopening?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I totally agree with Dr. Rotimi that we are not ready yet to reopen the schools because I don't think it's safe for the teachers and for the students. So we are not ready yet. And like Dr. Rotimi pointed out, we can actually do remote teaching, but it's not going to be a general solution for the country. So each state, each communities, each schools, they have to look at their peculiar situation and decide on which of this method of remote teaching is okay, is applicable, or is implementable for them. So they have to think about, do they have the technologies for doing virtual learning? If they don't have, can they schedule dedicated radio programs? So each schools have to look at a localized solution, but these solutions have to be coordinated by the respective Ministry of Education in that state, or the Central Ministry of Education for federal government schools. So we have to look at all these things. I was shocked when WAEC announced that they announced their examination date. It doesn't look realistic to me because they have not even come up with guidelines to make sure that if students have to resume back to school, they also need to observe social distancing, the regular cleaning of hands. They have to come up with guidelines for examination, invigilation, guidelines for teaching, all the surfaces, how they will be cleaning them. Is there is the school in hygienic? Are the schools in good hygienic position conditions for academic activities to resume? So they didn't think about all these things before announcing that the school should resume. Another point I want to make is that the National Union of Teachers, Academic Staff Union of the Universities, Association, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, they all have responsibilities they must make. They don't just, because what I see with ASU is that they just sit down, criticize the government, declare the next strike, and say the government, what are they doing in their own level to make sure that we put all these necessary things in place. For instance, during the accreditation exercise, you see a situation where the academics, they collude with the management of their schools to put a fake list of facilities that are not there, to put a fake list of lecturers that they don't have, just for them to have that accreditation. And that has not helped the system over the years. So over the years, we don't have the facilities. We put a fake list that we have them, we get the accreditation, then the next month we declare a strike, and then we shut the school for 6 months saying that those facilities are not there. So all these unions and every stakeholders in the education, they have to take responsibilities to make sure that we are doing the right thing for us to salvage the worst education crisis in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gideon, for your contribution. To wrap this up, for us to have an holistic view, I like the fact that we have looked at this resumption plan in terms of the policymaker, government, and other agencies that are responsible. But I think one important element of it that we are not looking at is the family. Because COVID has affected everybody. I want to talk before we move to the next question, which is like the last question for today's edition of this program. Okay. So the first thing I want to merge together is the issue of the family, the financial, the economic situation and reality of the family. As most homes, most businesses are already affected. As we know that majority of the people are not in Nigeria are actually probably doing private practice and stuff like that, and they are already affected because of COVID. That means we all know that the issue of electricity power has been a notorious problem, though it's becoming better now. So when we say we want to use radio and stuff like that, if you then need to charge them, there's no light you need to buy all of those things. If it's a battery, if it's a transistor radio, you need to buy battery, you need money to consistently buy them. All of these are challenges. So how will this reopening, all these plans that we are talking about, what effect, how will families cope with it? Also, on this online remote learning, data has said that, especially in Lagos and some other states, where schools of children of a certain class who afford to go online and studying online, enrollment login attendance has been put at 60%. That means 6 out of 10 of their normal students are the one attending the classes online now. So for that is for schools, because some schools are actually in session, they are going as it were, because they have deployed, they have the tools, they have the infrastructure, but they require that only 60% of their students attend classes on a daily basis. So looking at these two information and then the reopening plan, I want you to help us situate them together, and then this, what others contributors have raised and say concerning what we need to do about reopening. So, because I wouldn't want us to leave anyone out. So, how do we address this? How best can we address this?
For me, schools should just close for the year. That's just the plain truth. I know it's a hard talk, but that's just the point. The point blank talk. So I'll give you an example. Most countries that are trying to open up at all, they've done more than 1% test of their population. Check the statistics. Most countries that are trying to open up, they've done more than 1% of their total population test in terms of COVID-19 test. What is the percentage of tests we've done in Nigeria is abysmal. Is nothing. 1% of our population, we've not even hit that particular benchmark at all. So when it comes to COVID-19, we know that we have, according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, we have 9.6 million people who are within the ages of 60 and above in Nigeria. Now, children are the vehicle to transport this virus to their respective homes. So you do not come to the mainstream media and announce that you intend to open up schools and open up the airways because Ghana is doing the same thing, South Africa is doing the same thing, UK is doing the same thing. You don't do that because you've not done the right things yet. We've not tested at all. So why are we trying to just jump the gun because people are opening up their schools? So for me, schools should remain closed. Now, the issue Dr. Rotimi talked about and Dr. Gideon, when he talked about the remote learning, let's not fool ourselves. So I'll give you a practical example, but I will not mention the name of the university. It's a highly ranked private university in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, they do their teaching through Telegram. So they send the lecturer type messages on Telegram and send, and the student responds to the same message. So imagine the level of impact when it comes to that. When it comes to the remote learning using radio stations and what have you, how do you commit a child who is between 5 years to 10 to sit on a paper and write 2 + 4 or 5 + this when you need physical presence to guide these children through? That is 2. 3, let's not forget that these children's psychology is at stake. So you give a little boy of 12 years old or 10-year-old a face mask to go into the school. Do you know that there is already psychological effect on that child? I heard the other time, the minister was saying that they will have to put these children on open field to write examination as far as WAEC is concerned. Do you know the impact of putting a child in an open field to write an examination? Also, when you look at the same students again, you are trying to bring them on board for examinations. Do you know that the temperature screening we are doing, we can actually miss people who are COVID-19 positive because Nigerians are known for self-medication. And what the thermometer does is to reduce the body, is to check for the body temperature. When you take ibuprofen, paracetamol, it brings down your body temperature. When I come to the school gate and my temperature is taken, you will get 35, whereas apparently I'm 38, 39. Even the qPCR machine equally missed positive cases when you test too early. So what then, where are we rushing to exactly? Because if we open up, the reason why I want to open up again is this. It is clear that we do not even believe the seriousness of COVID-19. If the government are aware how serious this virus is, we won't be pushing for opening because we've not even done 1% of our population. So for me, life comes before any form of education or examination. So the schools should remain closed as far as COVID-19 is concerned for now. That's just my opinion. And with that, you don't need to stress the parents anymore for trying to put them on TV or give them resources to. The bandwidth when it comes to the internet is nothing to write home about also. We know people who struggle on day-to-day basis to get their internet to run. You have people using MTN, Glo, and Etisalat just to get internet connection. So you want to put parents at that same level of commitment when the minimum wage is just 30,000 naira. So for me, school opening should be closed. Thank you.
Thank you.